Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos a mi barrio y su gente. Yo soy Manny Rodríguez. En el día de hoy me encuentro en la pequeña ciudad de Dundee, en el condado Polk, en el estado de la Florida, visitando al Donwood Opportunity Center, un centro de educación alternativa. Ahora, si usted es como yo, se preguntará, ¿qué es la educación alternativa? Así que acompáñeme y juntos aprenderemos. Good morning, Mr. Perez.
Good morning, Mr. Rodriguez. How are you?
Pretty good, thank you. I was just wondering, can you tell us a little bit more about Donwood's Opportunity Center?
Sure, I'll be happy to. Come on in.
All right. Hello. Mr. Perez, what is the Donwood's Opportunity Center about?
Donwood's Opportunity Center is a school where students are sent here for different reasons. Sometimes we get them through the court system, and we get them from middle schools and high schools. These are students who've had discipline issues, and basically what we want to do is try to get them back on track so they can return either to their middle school or their high school as productive students.
So they come from different schools, or they have been involved in issues that deal with discipline, or what?
Well, basically violations of the code of conduct. As you well know, the Polk County school system has a code of conduct that all students are expected to abide by, and some of them, unfortunately, takes them a little longer to get their act together. But we've been pretty successful as far as channeling the students in the right direction.
How many students do you think you have here? At the time?
We have about today we have about 240 students.
Okay, and when a student is sent here, how long is the student expected to be here?
Well, that all depends. If the student is expelled from school, they're expelled for a year or two. That's from expulsion date to the anniversary of the expulsion date. If not, we try to return students back to their home school within 46 days. But it's not an automatic. We have a rubric, and there's certain items on that rubric. For example, there's a point system. They need to earn at least 80% of their points. They need to have a GPA of 2.0 or 2.5, depending on middle school or high school. If it's middle school, it's a 2.0. If it's a high school, it's a 2.5. And then no more than one major discipline referral. A major discipline referral could be something where they were arrested or they were extremely disrespectful to a staff member. And the other one is attendance. They need to have 90% attendance in order to transition.
You mentioned that you had middle school students and high school students.
That's correct.
Are they together in the same classroom?
No, we have two buildings. The building that we're in right now is the high school building, and then the middle school building is directly behind this building. They are separated.
When the students come over here, how are they received by your staff and yourself?
We have an orientation every Thursday at 1:30, and students cannot come here unless they go through the orientation. Okay. And basically we do, during the orientation, we let them know what the expectations are. We let them know that we are here for them. Matter of fact, each day over the intercom when we do our announcements, the last thing we tell them is that the staff here at Donwood truly loves them. And we're sincere about that. We meet with the students when they have issues. Going back to orientation, once the students and parents leave orientation, they leave here with a good feeling, knowing that we're about students.
Okay. Do you have a school resource officer here?
That we do. Deputy Rector is our resource officer. He does an awesome job. He's also about students. He gets along with them very well, and they respond to him in a positive.
Yeah. What is your job here as the director of the center?
My responsibility is to make sure that the total operation of the school goes flawless. I'm not only responsible for the students, I'm also responsible for staff, hiring and firing. I spend most of my time in the classrooms making sure that the teachers are on task as well as the students. The teachers know my expectations and the students know my expectations. So my main responsibility is to oversee the entire facility.
How is the relationship between your staff and yourself and the parents of the students?
Okay. As far as parents, we have a good communication, very positive relationship with the parents. As a matter of fact, we receive thank you cards from parents when their students return to their home schools. Several thank you cards letting us know that it was a positive experience for them here. Unfortunately, sometimes we don't get parent support in the sense that they will not show up to pick up report cards. The only time they show up is when there may be a discipline issue. But for the most part, those parents who do come to meet with us are very positive about what's going on here.
Since most of these children, they come over here because they have some type of a student code violation at the traditional school, do you think that parental involvement plays a big role prior to the students getting here?
That I couldn't answer because I'm not in their schools. When you look at our schools today, you know, it doesn't matter whether it's a middle school or high school, you know, they're so overcrowded that you're going to have issues. And considering the drama that takes place in the neighborhoods, sometimes that bleeds over into the schools, and then, you know, because of the issues, then we get them. But nonetheless, you know, parents, you know, love their kids and they want what's best for them. But then you have to look at peer pressure. You know, that plays a major part in our students today. And that's a society problem. It's not a school problem.
Yeah. When the students get over here and they have the history of discipline issues at their traditional schools, what is the reaction of your staff knowing that they're dealing with the students that have had disciplinary issues and code violation?
When students get here, basically they're given a clean slate. You know, we couldn't care less what they did at their home school. What we're concerned is what they do here. We have a few students who've gone on to college after they left here. We've had students who have transitioned from here and have chosen to go to an alternative ed center such as a Fresh Start and New Beginnings and have gotten their diplomas. So they've left here with a positive. As far as the teachers, I've always told them, I said, you know, forget about what they've done. We're not concerned with what they did to get here. We're concerned with what we can do to make them positive, productive students when they return. And we also follow up on our students. It's not like we just transition them. We follow up, we go back to the schools to make sure they're doing well. We stay in constant communication with the resources at the other schools. We have an open communication. If there are issues with the student, we ask them to call us and we'll send one of our staff members out to meet the students, make sure everything's okay.
Okay, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
It seems like you guys have a lot of support for the students once they get over here and transition back to the traditional schools.
Oh, we do, and we also have, and this may come later on, we let our students know that we care for them. We had an award ceremony last week, and it's amazing, you know, when these students receive awards, they've never received awards before. And I was watching them as they were headed for the buses. They were holding on to those awards like, wow, you know, this is gold.
A trophy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So, you know, they feel proud.
Yes. When the students leave here, let's talk about recidivism. How often or how many return here, not because of their choices, but because of circumstances?
Okay. Let me put it to you this way. We have several parents who don't want their students to return back to their home schools. They find that for them, a smaller environment, it's a positive environment for these students. When I tell you that we care for these kids, we truly do. We truly love these kids. We've seen kids turn around. It's unbelievable how these kids have turned around. And again, some parents want them to stay here. Now, granted, you know, we have students that return to us for basically the same thing. Some of these kids, you know, just can't control their behavior. Nothing of violence, but just, you know, when they return to their home schools, they're put on a contract. And the minute you step out of line, guess what? We're going to send you back. And we don't mind. You know, if we had a bigger facility, we wouldn't send them back because we're trying to make a difference with these students. Matter of fact, last year we petitioned the district to let us keep some of the students so they can transition from here to Ridge Tech in the culinary program. So the school board pretty much supported us, and we wound up with a culinary program. I have an awesome culinary program, which I hope we can go down there and see those students in action.
You mentioned something that is really important to me. You mentioned a contract, that the students sign a contract when they return back to the schools. But when they come over here and you have an idea of their history, disciplinary history and whatnot, do they have to sign a contract once the students get over here that says, I have, you know, read the rules and I understand the rules and so on?
No, there is no contract. We have the rubric. You know, you can be the most intelligent kid on this campus. If you do not meet everything on that rubric, actually is you have to meet 3 out of 4 on that rubric, 3 out of 5 on that rubric, but one of them must be the GPA. Doesn't matter what they tell you. For example, some schools will tell them you can return to us in 45 days. But if they don't meet the rubric, we don't send them.
Okay.
Because it's a reflection on Don Woods. So we want to make sure that they're ready to rock and roll when they get back to their home school.
Some students, it's been said that they act up in the schools because they don't understand the concept, because they have some problems understanding different topics. How do you your staff deliver the instruction of this particular type of students?
Okay. Well, we deliver the same curriculum as they do in a regular school. We provide differential instruction at the different levels to try to meet the students' needs. As far as assessment, they take the same assessment as the students would take in their regular school. So we need to make sure that whatever is taking place in their home school is taking place here. As far as the students are concerned, we believe in a ripple effect. By that I mean, you can't save them all, but if you can make a difference for one, that will create a ripple effect and hopefully will cause that student to move on and let others see that this student was capable and follow suit. For example, the young lady I referred to who has a 3.9 GPA, completed her first year at Bethune-Cookman.
Oh, wow.
She was one of our students and came back to visit last week, and we were so proud of her. 3.9.
Yeah, that's pretty
GPA.
good.
Yeah.
For the record, that's higher than mine GPA. Okay, when I went to college. Let's talk about your staff, because all of you teachers, they deal with students that have a history of misbehaving in the classroom, if I can say that correctly. What do you do to motivate your staff to continue and to have all the enthusiasm and to inspire the students as well?
Yeah. This staff constantly comes back every day. They come back, they have issues in the classroom. Keep in mind that we receive students from all over the west part of the county, actually the east side of the county. And when you put students from Frostproof, Winter Haven, Haines City, all together, you're going to have issues in the classrooms. But nonetheless, the teachers have found a way to relate to these kids. And the teachers know we care. We support them 100%. When they have a problem, they buzz the office and we're right there. They know they can count on us at any time. Are
your teachers required to be highly qualified like the other teachers
correct, yes.
at the traditional school?
Every teacher on this campus is highly qualified.
Okay.
Fully certified too.
Fully, exactly. In addition to having your teachers, some schools have guidance counselors. What other type of support personnel do you have here on campus?
Okay. We have what you would consider wraparound services. Wraparound services includes a guidance counselor. We have a full-time psychologist. We have a full-time social worker. And we have a full-time mental health counselor. You could not ask for a better group of people. We have a full-time academic dean, and we also have a full-time discipline dean. And they do an awesome job. I wouldn't trade the staff in for no other staff. They are truly a leadership team. They do make a difference.
Wow. Mr. Perez, thank you very much for all the information you have shared with us today. If you have a message that you could send to the parents whose children attend here and the other parents whose children do not attend here, what would that be?
My message to parents is don't give up on your children. You brought them into this world. It's your responsibility to make sure that they are successful, and they are our children.
That's wonderful. Mr. Perez, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
We're going to take a break and we'll be back with more of Mi Barrio Y Su Gente.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but things changed. Teaching didn't seem that cool anymore. So you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Amazing things are happening in teaching, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Amigas y amigos, si ya tienen cobertura del Medicare y tienen dificultades para pagar los medicamentos que les receta su médico, es posible que tengan derecho a un beneficio adicional. Para informarse, vaya a www.segurosocial.gov y encontrará las respuestas que necesita y en español. Cuando esté ahí, aproveche de revisar los servicios disponibles. www.segurosocial.gov. Es tan fácil.
Hola amigos, bienvenidos una vez más a Mi Barrio Y Su Gente. Me encuentro aquí en Donwood Opportunity Center. En este momento me encuentro con el señor Kevin Kitto, un señor de la comunidad muy interesante. Mr. Kitto, welcome to Mi Barrio Y Su Gente.
Thank you.
Mr. Kitto, where are you from?
Originally from New Zealand, via Australia, been here about 40 years.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm actually currently in the billboard business. I own my own billboard business and I have a rental business of apartments. I have quite a few apartments in Dundee. I have another business called Kitto Sheds and Equipment, which is heavy equipment and metal sheds that we sell.
How did you get involved with Donwood's Opportunity Center?
Well, that's a long story. When I came to Florida, I got involved in education simply because where I grew up in New Zealand, I was one of those kids, like the kids at Donwood Center. I got expelled from the high school that I was at.
Oh.
And so I've always wished that I got a better education because I had to go and do the last 6 months of my education at a totally different school. Didn't have anything like the Donwood Opportunity Center in New Zealand when I grew up. So I missed out a lot of education. And in the businesses that I've been in, I wished I've had a better education. So I got involved in Donwood's. When it first started about 18, 19 years ago, I was very involved in the Dundee Elementary School. The school sat vacant. Then they turned it into a Donwood Center. And I've sort of been on and off involved in it ever since. But when Mr. Perez came here, I got more involved in it because I think kids today need parental guidance and education and they're not getting it from their house. And that's why they're in a problem.
So how's your relationship with the staff here?
Well, I've done a couple of events for the staff here, and I'm doing one, I think, next week, if I remember correctly. The staff here are really committed. I've never seen a staff committed like the staff here. I would be, if I was the staff here, really worried because of the children's background and the nature of why they've come here. But the staff here just amaze me, and they seem so friendly and nice and committed to the kids. And it intrigues me because this is sort of what I would call the melting pot of the East area, because you have all nationalities, all ages, etc., and demographics. And I don't know how the staff do it, but they do it, and they do it with a smile on their face every day.
What's your opinion about the program that they have for the students that come over here?
Well, I think I was listening to Mr. Perez, and I think the program is so good that the kids sometimes don't want to leave. And I think that speaks loud to what they're doing. The kids enjoy it here. They seem to thrive. They don't want to go back to their regular school because this is different. It gives them more of a one-on-one situation, and a lot of kids need that today. They need that love and nurturing that they're not getting at the big school. And that's nothing to take away from the other schools, but they have so many problems at the other schools, overcrowding, not enough teachers. So you can't blame the kids. It's the whole system is wrong.
If you had the opportunity, let's say that you were, and I'm not going to go into politics because I am not a politician, okay? But if you had the opportunity to make an additional change or a different impact here on this program, what would it be and why?
I think the biggest impact needed is parental involvement. I've always been a firm believer that if the parents are involved, and that's not one parent, it's both parents, man and woman, because the kids gravitate to me when I go onto a school campus because they're missing that male influence in their life. And I've been involved, as I said, for 20 years in the school district. And every time I go on a campus, the kids gravitate to a man because they don't see a man in their life. I think the biggest thing that I've always said, somehow we have to get men involved in volunteering in schools, business partners, and men especially.
What do you think that we can do together collectively as a big community to motivate the parents to get involved in their education?
I think one of the things that we need to do is, especially for the Spanish people, because I think they are a very family-orientated group, but because of the man is out making money every day and breadwinning, we need to work after hours to do a community forum to be able to bring both parents to a school or to a city hall or something, and then tell them how important it is for them to be involved in their children's education. Not just elementary school, but I find at high school, need to be more involved at high school because that's where the problems start to arrive, when the gangs start to take over influence of the kids. Elementary school, you know, mum looks after the kids and it's okay, but nobody looks after the kids when they get to 16, 17, and 18, and that's where they need the influence the most.
Let's say that we are in a big stadium and you have all this huge audience, all of the parents at once together, and you get the opportunity to deliver a message to the parents. What would you tell them?
I would tell the dads to be involved in their child's education more than what they are today. At least give their child 5 hours a week, either playing, reading, communicating with their child. To me, that's most important.
Mr. Kitto, thank you very much for everything you have done here for the
Thank you.
school. Well, we're going to take a break and we'll be back with more of Mi Barrio Y Su Gente.
There's no place like home.
Llegar a casa a salvo está a solo un clic de distancia y escoger el asiento adecuado para la edad y tamaño de su pequeño lo llevará por el camino de los viajes seguros.
How can I ever thank you enough?
Visite safercar.gov/protegidos.
Welcome back to Mi Barrio Y Su Gente. As you can tell, we're not in the studio. We're here at Donwood's Opportunity Center. We're speaking with members of the staff, and we're also speaking with some members of the community. And right now, we have a special member of our community, Mr. Reverend Robert Scott. How are you?
I'm fine.
Welcome to Mi Barrio Y Su Gente. What is your connection with Donwood's Opportunity Center?
I'm a volunteer, and I love what I do.
Why do you do that?
Simply because I have a passion, particularly for Donwood Center, Opportunity Center.
Okay.
I come out here because I see myself years ago when I was in school, and I just have a passion for these kids. I have a passion for relating to them, and I enjoy helping. I enjoy getting involved.
Tell us about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm from Winter Haven.
Okay, so you're from Polk County here.
Yeah, I grew up in the community of a small sector of Winter Haven called Flonceville.
Okay, and you joined the military?
Yes, I was in the Army from 65 to 67, and I took a break and went back in 74 to 77.
How did that change your life?
In a great many ways. I spent a tour in Vietnam,
Okay.
From January to January 66, 67, and there was a great change. I saw quite a bit of killing and a lot of buddies that were lost, and it affected me a great deal. But through it all, I thank God for me coming out okay.
That's pretty good. You mentioned that there's a connection between you and Donwood's Opportunity Center. Does that bring some memories back from the time that you went to school?
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
Tell us about that.
Well, I like to use the word dummy button.
Okay.
And I too was on that button when I was in school. Not because I didn't have the ability, I just made the wrong choices. And some of these kids make the wrong choices. And when you've been there and done that, you find out you can help. You can relate to many different and odd situations where if you made mistakes and you can make a difference in their lives, you can explain to them how they made the wrong choices, and they can get it right just by thinking things out, doing the right things, and making a difference. We all can make a difference in a child's life if we show a little care, being concerned. Love goes a long ways in a lot of different situations if we'll just take time to show them that we care and we're concerned about them. But a lot of us don't take that time. We're not concerned. We're too busy doing our own thing.
What do you think parents should do to ensure that their children are more successful while they're at the school?
Well, as it was said before, take time to go in the classroom. Show your children that you care about what they are doing. You are concerned about what they are doing. Relate to what they're doing. And that little bit of care goes a long ways. It's very, very paramount that we show our children, and not only our children. I like to say all children are my children, because that's the difference that makes the difference. Children that don't know you, when you show them that you care about them, they will take notice and they'll be concerned because you are concerned. And I have children that call me grandpa, and I love it.
Yes.
I love it because they call me grandpa or they call me old man. And that's you know, that's an honor. That's an honor to be called old man. Yes. And it's not degrading. It's an accolade to me.
Yes. What do you think that this village, because people say that it takes a village to raise a child, and Mr. Perez and the staff and Mr. Kitto and yourself, and I assume that I'm in that village, raising all of these children, what do you think we need to do to motivate the parents that many times attribute their lack of participation or lack of involvement in the students' education? What do you think we need to do to get them going, to get them more involved?
My major concern, and I've been trying to work on this for about 3 years now, is to get permission from the school to the home, to go to the home, to speak to the parents, to get the parents to know that they need to come to the school, to work with their children. And that's something personal that I have. And I even spoke to Dr. Leroy about this concern that I have. And I don't want to waste her time going down. She asked me to make an appointment with her. And I think that's a small matter. Somebody that can set an appointment to discuss other matters can throw that in while they're, because she's too busy, yes. I'm saying. And they can throw that in and kind of work it out for me. But I don't want to waste her time. And I'm saying it's a small matter. It might be a major matter, you know, as far as she's concerned. Mm-hmm. But I think that's high on my priority list, to be able to get from the school to the home, to talk to the parents about getting involved with their children, to make a difference in their lives, because it's very important. That's something that we can't put on the back burner. It's something that should be up front and foremost. And I think it'll make a difference. I've been thinking it'll make a difference.
Well, now that you mentioned that, I'm thinking that could have a bigger impact if individuals like yourself and Mr. Kitto and others in the community were to be part of a plan that is also with the school board, the public schools, and adults that are not employees of the school board, business people, someone from the church, someone from the baseball team, or the local business, if they go and they speak with the parents, if they speak about the importance of their involvement in their child's education, I think that's an excellent idea. Because me as a parent, I'm thinking about what you said, and I'm heavily involved in the education of my children. But if I were to get someone like you come to my house and talk to me about that, I think I would pay more attention to that and go to the meetings and reflect on my actions. I think that's a great idea.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, what we're going to do is maybe see if we can organize more members of the community to have a longer discussion about that topic.
Sure.
Reverend Scott, I think you are a great man, and I'd like to thank you for being here and for doing what you do for our community.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And God bless you.
Amen.
Yes.
Well, we're going to take another break, and we'll be back with more of Mi Barrio Y Su Gente.
Miguel Díaz.
Presente.
Miguel Díaz.
Presente.
Miguel Díaz.
Miguel Diaz.
Los estudiantes que falten 18 días o más de escuela en cualquier grado corren el riesgo de atrasarse y no graduarse. Las ausencias se acumulan. Mantenga la cuenta hoy. Visite boostattendance.org.
Welcome back to Mi Barrio Y Su Gente. We're here at Donwood's Opportunity Center, this time speaking with Lana McCullough. Lana, welcome to Mi Barrio Y Su Gente.
Thank you.
Lana, tell us, what do you do here at Donwood's Opportunity Center?
My formal title is social worker, but I wear, a variety of hats. I consider myself the voice for the students. I'm the liaison for different departments and service providers throughout the community. So,
what kind of service do you provide to the students as a social worker?
it varies. It depends on the student and the situation, the family, the needs. Just assessing the student on a daily basis, and the students come in with so many different obstacles, and we just kind of try to identify what they need. And for example, if it's placement, stability in the home, I may reach out to Heartland through the Department of Children and Families and try to make that stable for the student. If it's transportation, if it's food, we did start through Catholic Charities. We have the through AGOP, the Smile Pack program. So families that may need some extra food in the home, if those resources are lacking, we provide that here. Just little stuff, clothes. We started a clothes closet for the requirements for Don Woods for the uniforms. We offer that until there's some permanent clothing that's offered. The family can get. So we just try to make everything available to the parents as needed.
So when a child comes here, is transferred from the
Correct.
Traditional school to Don Woods Opportunity Center, you do an assessment of the needs of the student?
I don't do a formal assessment. I try to work with the team, try to work with the parents immediately. It's more about prevention rather than intervention, and I think that's more effective because they come here with the variation of obstacles that face them are external. A lot of them are external, so we try to get to the root of the problem. A lot of the students have unresolved mental health issues. They have unresolved behavioral issues. Again, those external factors need to be looked at. So we just try to do that as quickly and effectively as possible so we can provide the relevant resources to the students.
Okay. Let's say that there's a student that is homeless.
Yes.
But he lives with mom and dad, but they don't have a place. And the student is sent here, and you find out that they have all of these needs. What would you do to help
There
this
is
child?
unaccompanied minors or homeless students. There's a program, the Hearth Project, that is also affiliated through the district. So we reach out to them, and they kind of help out with many things, whether it's housing, clothing, food. So they're an additional support to services that I immediately provide. They're kind of that support. In every avenue of the individual services that I provide to the students on a daily basis, there's always, it's like a web. I have, look for that additional support that can stay with the family and the student outside of school, outside of the normal working hours here. And that's what I hope to achieve for every student that I'm able to do that, as we identify it.
Okay. You mentioned housing, and you talked briefly about the Hearth program, which is at the district office. For the parents that have children that are homeless, do you guys assist them with housing?
We don't. We provide them resources that can help with their immediate needs. And furthermore, just from my previous experience, workforce experience and knowledge, I kind of have insight on how to help the student and the parent, whether it's housing, medical needs, insurance needs, so they can get the adequate services that they need. Meaning, if there's mental health services that a parent is not able to provide for their child, and even though we offer that here, and there's in addition to it, it's necessary, it needs to be done, there needs to be more and more of it outside of school. They may not know how to get that service, they may not be able to afford that service, so I link them up with the right materials and resources to get them what they need.
Let's talk about a traditional day, a regular day. You come here, you get here, what do you do?
I come in right away, identify anyone with clothing needs. We offer that through our clothes closet that I mentioned earlier. Throughout the day, it's just a lot of conflict resolution, trying to help students cope and develop skills to get through an organized setting such as a classroom, and offer support to the staff. I mean, talk to parents, have meetings, reach out to those service providers, deal with attendance and truancy. So every day is, it's a new day.
Where do you get the clothes that you have, to give to the students? Where do you get that from?
Initially, our staff just kind of pitched in and, purchased or brought them just to start a very small clothes closet. We had some donations along the way, and we were able to reach out to the Winter Haven Chamber. They did donate us a washer and dryer, so we didn't take the clothes home. So we actually, do all those things here. And we're willing to do that to reduce any barrier to keep our students in school. I mean, I just think it alleviates the smallest barrier that we can alleviate to keep them here, as opposed to being home over, a shirt or something so minor. It's not going to benefit a student to sit at home. I'd rather them be here and get an education. I think it's important.
Yeah. How's your relationship with the students?
It's really good.
Yeah.
I have a good rapport with the students. I think being here, being school-based, has a lot to do with that. When we make a commitment and, we're trying to work with the family, some students, I may go out and do home visits or reach across the kitchen table to try to convince a student to come back to school, or, have a conversation with a parent to see what's really going on in the home, or, just have a general discussion about the value of education. And when they see me come out, it's, they're like, wow, someone came from the school, they do care. I've had a lot of students come back to school that were ready to drop out. So I think being school-based and being available and developing those relationships and making that full commitment and following through with, what we offer is vital to participation, both with the students and the parents.
And how is your relationship with the parents?
It's good. It's good. I would say the first year that I came, it was a little rocky, and I contribute that to just the sheer frustration. By the time students come to Don Woods, their adversities, there's so many different variations of adversities. Parents may be frustrated. They may not, feel that they're going to get any services. So, have to meet that resistance, and I welcome those challenges, and, just refusing to give up on the parent, kind of, offer that support and empower them without enabling them is kind of how I look at it.
Do you get enough support from the administration here?
I do, especially this year. We have the ability and the capacity to offer so many services now that we're fully staffed, and we have, you know, our psychologist, our mental health counselor. So for me to be able to offer those immediate services and identify and reach out, I also started a problem-solving team committee. Instead of waiting until there's a need for the problem solving or the requirements have to be met per se, we kind of just upfront or stay organized, prioritize those students and deal with them right away. And
is that committee
effort.
Made up of the students?
It's made up of our leadership team, our student support staff that's now here, and it's been wonderful.
Okay, so what is the biggest challenge you faced in your position?
I would say the adversities that the students are coming in with. The ranges are so, you know, large, and you don't know what you're going to face or what you're going to see. So you have to be ready to meet those adversities, and you have to do it effectively, and you have to do it immediately, and make sure that what you're providing is relevant to their success. Otherwise, it could just be a missed calls. So,
if you had the opportunity to go, and I believe you do, to go to any school in Polk County within the school district, which one would you go?
Which school? I would say here.
Lana, that was a trick question. Lana, thank you very much for the information, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much.
We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more of Mi Barrio Y Su Gente.
What do you think it would be like to teach? Chances are, you have no idea. Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places, and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable. That's what it's like to teach.
Welcome back to Mi Barrio Y Su Gente. We're still here at Don Woods Opportunity Center, and now we're going to speak with two of the most important staff members here. Gwendolyn Woodard Potter, the guidance counselor, and Ashley Mendez, the school psychologist. Ladies, welcome to Mi Barrio Y Su Gente.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you guys are here.
Thank you.
Let's start with you, guidance counselor. Your position is really important here.
Yes.
Tell me about your regular day.
My regular day is a varied regular day. As the normal guidance counselor in other schools, counselors are specifically responsible for credits, promotion, retention, making sure that all the students achieve what's necessary in order to be promoted to the next grade or graduate from high school. In addition to that, here at Don Woods, I have to look at the reason that students are sent here. And they're sent here for behavioral issues. And those behavioral issues can entail anything from a student being disrespectful to a teacher so many times, up to the point whereas they may have used some illegal substance or something. So even though I'm an academic person, I have to be instrumental in understanding the behavior that has taken place in that child's life. And I have to blend those two things together in order to ensure that the student is getting what he or she needs in order to make it to that next level, and that is to transition back to their home school, and hopefully they'll be more successful when they go back.
Okay, so since this is not a traditional school.
It is not a traditional school.
Is it safe or correct to say that you're not a traditional guidance counselor?
Absolutely. I am not a traditional guidance counselor.
How many students do you think, what is the average of students that you see on a daily basis?
It could be 10. It could be 10. And the students here are really wanting to understand, what do I need to do in order to graduate? Unfortunately, many students come here and they haven't had the opportunity to speak with the counselor. to understand what position they're in academically. And normally these students feel intimidated in the regular school setting, and they feel as though their needs are not being met simply because they have this label that they've got this behavior, and they just don't have time for them. But when they come here, I specifically understand that there's a low self-esteem, that there is a lack of confidence in themselves. And I go after that to let them know that you're important. I know that there are issues that are going on in your life, even though you may not have academically obtained the level that you're looking, towards. That we can put something together, put a strategy together, and we can help you achieve that. And a part of that strategy, most of the time, does include the school psychologist.
Okay. Before we go into Ms. Mendez, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let's talk about demographics.
Okay.
Black students, white students, Latinos, and I don't know what else you serve here.
Yes.
But what is the biggest group?
The biggest group, of course, African American males.
Okay, so because of that, do you think that you, because of your own background and who you are, you can relate to them?
I want to answer that not in a typical way. I want to answer that in a way that I think that's a philosophy that's behind how I interact with my students. I look at the fact that when we were all educated, when we were freshmen in college, when we were all our first year in graduate school, all of us educators had to take courses that had to do with the stages of human development. So in spite of what my color is, what my background is, where I come from, we all humans have these same, we're made the same. I mean, I have personality, I have a way of looking at life because of the stage of development in which I grew up in. And in spite of my background, in spite of me being African American, in spite of that, I have the same type of concerns that someone who is Hispanic, someone who's Caucasian, someone who may be Asian. I have those same things. So I look at interacting with my students as they are all human. They're all a part of a race, and my job is to work with each student depending upon their concern. So I really try not to focus in on, because you're black, you and I can relate to each other. That's not the way it goes. And I think that the educational system needs to look more at students or teaching from that angle. That's a more fair angle to work with students with. And if they were to adopt that philosophy, I think we'd do a lot better in our schools overall.
Thank you. That's pretty deep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Ms. Mendez, you are the school psychologist. Yeah. And I think that the staff here is pretty fortunate to have one psychologist on staff for the whole day. Tell me about your regular day when you get here.
Well, my day is never the way I expect it to be, the way I try to plan it to be. It could be anywhere from counseling, scheduled counseling, to crisis counseling, to checking in with students. I do check-in, check-out services with students who have more intensive services that I need to know that they were okay the night before, and I want to check in the morning of to make sure everything's okay. A lot of students have peer issues, so I check in with students with the peer issues that they have. I help teachers and do teacher consultation. I meet with parents and provide parent consultation. We work with a problem-solving team, and in a problem-solving team, we're able to come together with a mental health counselor, a social worker, guidance counselor, ESC facilitator, all of us, to be able to really look at each individual student to really problem solve and identify what the concern is. On the outside, we see a student that's, quote, acting out, and sometimes underneath that, when we peel the layers of the orange or the onion or whatever you say, there's something else underneath that. And we're able to identify what that is. We're able to really provide the services that that student needs, whether it's counseling, whether it's social work services, So the problem-solving team is huge, and we all play a role in that. But as well as that, PBS, positive behavior supports, is a huge part of what I do here. And that's an intervention that every student receives. It's a school-wide intervention. And it's a alternative intervention to the traditional methods of discipline, where we provide positive intervention, positive supports, where we acknowledge students for following school-wide expectations and meeting goals, something that sometimes the students are not used to, and they really appreciate. So when we do that, sometimes we see a change around in behavior, they try a little bit harder, and that's a huge intervention that I'm a part of, that each student in the entire school, 200 plus students, receive. Besides that, I administer psychoeducational evaluations that some students require that parents or teachers inquire about if their students are struggling. And they feel that maybe the student needs extra support, maybe the student is requiring extra support for in terms of an educational disability. So the list goes on, but we all really, every staff here really pays a close eye on our students. So whenever there's ever an issue, they always give us a heads up, so we're able to intervene quickly.
Okay.
And adjust.
Ms. Mendez, what is the impact of your contributions on the program here at Donwood's Opportunity Center?
Well, the students that I work with, my first goal when working with them is to develop a relationship and develop rapport. And when I first am able to do that, it makes a huge difference.
This is not a traditional school, and there are lots of challenges.
Yeah.
So building that what is the importance of building that relationship with the students? I'm
able to, like I said before, uncover what's underneath their behavior. And a lot of students that come to us have other issues. They have other difficulties that they're dealing with, whether it's family issues, whether it's educational difficulties, whether they're struggling with learning disabilities, whether they just have educational gaps in their education, whether they have mental health, a history of mental health disabilities. There's so many things that they face besides coming to school and having to deal with the day-to-day peer issues and teacher issues and teacher conflicts and so when they come here and I'm able to uncover what's underneath why they make those wrong choices or why they've been getting discipline referrals or when kind of they started acting out, I'm able to start kind of really providing those interventions and services and helping them. Developing that relationship, and when they're able to first realize that someone cares, you could see the smile and you could see the difference it makes right away. You know, and sometimes I get a response from students, you know, such as, you know, are you doing this for me? Why? How come? And that's huge. And that's the reason, you know, why I do it and why I continue to do it, to have an impact like that on more and more students, so that they can see that we do care, that I do care, and that we want to learn about them and reach out to them and help them not just learn their math, science, social studies, get a diploma, but if there's other stuff that they're dealing with that's impacting their education and interfering with them learning, we're here for them too.
Okay, that's nice. What is the biggest challenge that you face or have faced here?
I would say time constraints, not having enough time to reach out to all the students in the time of the day, the time that we have allotted in the day. We have 200 plus students, and I would want to be able to see all those students on a weekly basis. Each student is struggling with something. whether it's academic issues, family issues, whether it's trauma, abuse. There's something that they're struggling with. And to be able to have more time to help them, work with them, meet with a problem-solving team constantly, frequently, it's just the time constraints.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Woodard, what about you? What is the biggest challenge you have faced here?
I see the biggest challenge is changing the image of an opportunity school. An opportunity school represents to the society as a school that is supposed to impose punitive consequences to students who have broken the school rules or policies. As we have talked earlier, I want society to understand that our students are human beings and they make mistakes. There are things going on in the background that may be prohibiting them from becoming the best that they can be. If we as professionals look at the fact that if we are within a family, let's say, man and yourself, when you're at home and you and your wife or your children, you all get into a fight or you all have these disturbances going on, how effective would you be to leave that home, immediately go to your job and do the best that you can and not think about what's taking place at home? That's really not to be even considered. So the more educated we are to understand how the attitudes at home impact our relationships outside of the home, the better we are prepared to do well outside and in school. But in most cases, these students don't have that understanding. Their parents don't have that understanding. So if we can get away from that image and have it to become public knowledge that academic achievement can be made when the home environment is basically in a position to enable the student to become his or her best. So I think that's the biggest obstacle that we're working towards relieving.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank both of you for giving us part of your time and for the contributions you give to Don Woods Opportunity Center.
Thank you. Thank you for recognizing us.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Well, lamentablemente llegamos al final de nuestro programa. Yo espero que este programa les haya entretenido y les haya divertido. Recuerden que la educación es una de las cosas más importantes que podemos darle a nuestros niños. Gracias por la atención y recuerden de conectarse con nosotros a través de nuestra página de Facebook Hispanic Education Association. Gracias y hasta la próxima. Mi Barrio y Su Gente les llega a ustedes gracias a la fina cortesía de Hacienda Mexico Restaurant, Silva Style Photography, Havana Delights Café,